is up, Diecast racing fans? You're watching the OWLMAN 400 at Pocono Raceway, qualifying for the modifieds. We're coming off an epic race in the stock series where Puffs Racing swept the podium after a couple of lead changes in the main event. And now it's time for the modifieds to do the same. That outer lane on the split turn, it was absolutely brutal. It was responsible for two big ones, but somehow all of the stocks qualified. Now let's see how these heavier mods take it. We're going to kick it off with our points leader, Clyde, going up against the 33 of Coop. And as you can see, we've added a momentum tracker to this qualifying session. Clyde and Burt Buzzer get to go up against part-time drivers. So where we'll show you the last three finishes of each of the modified drivers. The gates are down. Clyde is running away from Coop, who stalls in the middle of turn number 2. Clyde glides his way to an easy victory onto the round of 16. And up next, we have the 56 of Burt Buzzard for Cut Rock Creek Racing, going up against the number 2 of Big Play, also another part-time driver. And this one's as predictable as Kevin Patullo's offense. Burt Buzzard has been the fastest car on the track most of these qualifying sessions, and today it's no exception. Burt Buzzard runs away by 2 track segments into the round of 16. Big Play locks himself into the race. He'll have to avoid the 0-2 bracket. And up next, we have Sloppy Bear going up against the number 8 of Lucky Jackson for Po' Boy Racing. Lucky Jackson's got the most second place finishes without a win. Sloppy Bear stalls in the split turn. Another easy victory. Lucky Jackson moves on to the round of 16. And up next, we have Gale Force going up against Chef Squid. Chef Squid, who started off the season DNQing in 3 out of the first 5 races, hasn't done so lately. But he's been outclassed on the track by folks like Gale Force, who's got 2 top 10s in the last 3 races. Got a win at Texas earlier, the last time they had the split turn. Gale Force moves on to the field of 16. And up next, we have Puff going up against Christy. Christy's had quite a few decent qualifying efforts as of late, and right now she's caught up with Puff side by side, but then flips over in the split turn. Both drivers lose a ton of momentum there. Puff crawling to a stop short of the finish line, and will he make it there? He will not. Puff will have to race his way in the second chance race. Let's see if these guys can avoid that. Gazza, the hottest driver right now, went up 8 spots in the last 2 races. 2 wins, another top 10 finish. Gazza flying away from Mike Honcho, who bins it without any contact. Gazza grazes the wall but doesn't lose much speed. Moves on to the round of 16. And up next, we have Misty G going up against Lord Shank. And Lord Shank, coming off the best stretch of his career, couldn't carry that momentum through the split turn, though. Makes contact with Misty G. She falls short of the finish line once more. Both drivers coming off some pretty strong finishes, but both of them are going to have to race their way into this one. And up next, we got Gray for Sloppy Bear Racing going up against Gavin McSpadge. Now, Gray, he's been a pleasant surprise all year. He's been in the top 10 in points since like week 2. But he's coming off the first DNF of his career. Gavin McSpadge has had quite a few DNFs this year. And Gavin loses all of his speed in the middle of the split turn. Meanwhile, Gray beaches himself on the guardrail. He had a clear shot to the round of 16 and choked it away. The second chance race is getting really packed. There's probably going to be at least 1 or 2 full-time drivers that are going to go home. And now let's see if this pair of HSL teammates, Lord Raymond and the Owlman, the latter of whom the race is named after, can avoid that fate. Both of them smooth as butter. Lord Raymond quite a bit faster than the Owlman there. They both locked themselves in the race. And up next, we have Harry Hoon going up against Giorgio. Giorgio looking to rebound after a DNF at Talladega. He was skyrocketing up the point standings the 2 weeks before that. Tries to make a move on Harry Hoon, but he is not going to get there in time. A great block by Harry. He moves on to the round of 16. And up next, we have Heather going up against Bill Z. Bubb. Heather, with 2 crown jewel victories so far, has to be the favorite here. She is running away from Bill Bubb. Continues to gain ground out of the turns. Mistake-free driving from both drivers. Heather gets a little squirrely, but still moves on to the round of 16. And up next, we have Heather's teammate and your stock points leader, William, going up against J-Bo. J-Bo coming off back-to-back top 10s, only to DNF at Talladega, just like Giorgio. Looking to rebound while William plays it safe and just tries not to get hurt and lose a shot at the stock championship. They both lock themselves in. J-Bo to the round of 16. And up next, we have your Sonoma winner, Baby Richie, going up against Po' Boy, team owner and boss of Po' Boy Racing. They went 1-2 at the All-Star race. Still looking for the team's first modified win, full points paying race. And it's Po' Boy that moves on. And speaking of drivers that are on a hot streak right now, Bobby Allison has 4 straight top 10 finishes. Moved up 11 spots in the standings so far. Tries to throw a block on Casey Kane, but they both lose their speed. Bobby Allison gets beached on the guardrail. He had this thing won. Casey Kane starting to lose speed short of the finish line. Casey Kane will not make it to the finish. They're both going to have to race their way in. These second chance races are going to be one hell of a nail biter. Lots of the stocks that perform well in the stocks race are going to be racing against them. Now it's time to see whether Riot Isaac and Sparky Racer can avoid having a lap like that. So many double DNFs at this point that just finishing the lap at this point will get you into the round of 16. And they know that, but Riot Isaac still tries to throw a block vertically in the middle of the turn. What a boneheaded mistake there. Cost them both a spot in the round of 16. Now they're going to have to race their way in. And now we have our final race of the round of 32. 16th in points, Charlie Verney going up against 17th place, Elton Sawyer. And these are the teammates of Sparky Racer and Bill Z Bub. It's kind of like a proxy war. The two of them have collided on the track quite a few times. Elton Sawyer just bins it in the middle of the split turn without any contact. Charlie Verney crosses the line, moves on to the round of 16. And since we had so many double DNFs, we only have one race to avoid finishing in the 0-2 bracket. And so far, Chef Squid has the advantage over Big Play, but tries to throw a block in the middle of the turn once more. This time it works. Big Play loses all of his momentum. Chef Squid finishes the lap, fighting over one starting spot better. And now we have the round of 16. Whole bunch of double DNFs, so that's how the Owlman got back into it. And the next couple guys you're going to see in the outer lane finish their laps in second place, but at least they finished their laps, all the double DNFs. Give the drivers that drove smart laps a second chance, and speaking of double DNFs, that's another double DNF. Anybody that finishes their lap in second place gets to move on to the round of 8. The highest driver in points does. And now we have Burt Buzzard going up against Giorgio. Burt Buzzard with 2 wins on the season so far. Smooth as butter through the split turn and the second turn. Giorgio bins it. Right now, he'll have a bye into the round of 4 if nobody in the outside lane finishes their lap. Let's see if Bill Z Bub can be the first. Lucky Jackson on the inside has about a car length lead heading into the split turn. Continues to gain ground. Heading out of turn number 2. Lucky Jackson moves on to the round of 8. And up next, we have William going up against Gale Force. And if William finishes this lap in second place, he moves on to the round of 8 by default. And look at this, he's going for the win. William smashes it, leads by half a car length heading into the split turn. Gets pushed into the wall by Gale Force. Loses his speed on the backstretch. What an epic lap. Force that move on to the round of 8. William and Gale Force. Let's see if Baby Richie and Gaza, both of whom are race winners this season, can make something like that happen on their lap. But Baby Richie drives off the track, tries to drive back on, tries to take a shortcut, but it doesn't work. He loses a bunch of momentum. And he might finish the lap. Nope, he doesn't. No round of 8 for Baby Richie. Let's see if Charlie Verney has better luck going up against Lord Raymond. And Charlie Verney, even if he finishes second, will unseat his teammate for that last spot in the round of 8. But as Lord Raymond continues to gain ground, 2-3 plus track segments now, his best bet would be to drive conservatively. That he does. He unseats his teammate to get into the round of 16. Harry Hoon going up against Po' Boy. Just 2 more laps in the round of 16. And look at this, a Taurus versus a Monte Carlo side by side heading into the split turn. Some rear diff trouble for Po' Boy allows Harry Hoon to run away with it. Great driving by them both. As of right now, they're both in the round of 8. Po' Boy unseating Charlie Verney. And now let's see if J-Bo, 1 spot ahead of Po' Boy, 12th versus 13th, can unseat him. And it looks like J-Bo is going to take the lead, move into the round of 8 on speed, but he bins it in the split turn, knocks Heather loose. She loses a lot of speed, still crosses the line into the round of 8. And we're kicking it off with Burt Buzzard going up against Po' Boy, who's really here because of all the double DNFs earlier in the segment. And we got trouble for Po' Boy, rear differential problems again. He's not going to make it down the ramp. Burt Buzzard flying away just like Harry Hoon on the last lap. This was nowhere nearly as close, though. Burt Buzzard moves into the final 4. Let's see if Po' Boy's teammate, Lucky Jackson, could have some better luck than what we just saw. Lucky Jackson currently holds the record for the most podiums, second place finishes without a win. A full field points win, I should say. He did win 50 bonus points in the All-Star race. Heather makes it easy for him with a self-inflicted mistake in the split turn. That outside lane, it's been very difficult to make a pass so far today. But look at Harry Hoon, 2 car lengths before they even hit the bottom of the ramp over Gale Force. Clears the outer lane in the split turn. Gale Force rubber bands to his back bumper. He responds with a perfect reverse side draft. Moves on to the final 4. And up next, who is going to join Lucky Jackson and the Cut Rock Creek Racing Team? Is it going to be Gaza or Lord Raymond? Side by side heading into the split turn. Battling for position. Lord Raymond turns Gaza around. Gaza throws it in reverse, blocks Lord Raymond all the way down the track. What a great lap by Gaza to preserve his spot in the final 4. And as you can see on the replay, Lord Raymond tries to toss Gaza off the track. He's having none of it. Throws a block, puts it in reverse, and stares him down the whole rest of the lap. What a great drive by Gazza right there. Let's see what he can do in the Final Four. But first we have the Cut Rock Creek teammates of Burt Buzzard and Harry Hoon. Burt Buzzard contending for a championship. Harry Hoon trying to preserve a spot in the top 10 in points. And this one's going to be Burt Buzzard by almost a track segment over his teammate. And now let's see who he's going to face for the pole position. On the inside, we have the number 8 of Lucky Jackson for Po' Boy Racing. Then Gazza for the Barora Bangers. Absolutely flies past him on the outside. Gazza puts 2 wheels in the air but somehow recovers. Back on his wheels, throws a block on Lucky Jackson. It's going to be Gazza going up against Burt Buzzard for the pole. Burt Buzzard on the inside has looked unbeatable all day. But look at this. Once more, Gazza with a car length plus advantage coming out of the start gate. But he loses a ton of speed in the turns. Burt Buzzard moves to the inside. Gazza tries to toss him off the track. Reverse side drafts him from the outside. Gazza is your pole sitter. What an epic lap for the pole. We got to show you the replay here. As you can see, Burt Buzzard rubber bands up to Gazza in the split turn. Tries to cut underneath Gazza. Tries to push him off the track. Beaches him on the guardrail. Burt Buzzard gets back onto the track, but by then it's too little too late. Gazza has a 3-car length lead over him. Takes the pole position. After almost a full lap of smacking into each other, Gazza is your pole sitter. Harry Hoon wins the draw to start in third, an ace versus a king. And here we have the draw for the drivers that lost in the round of 8. Po' Boy and Lord Raymond are your other segment pole sitters. Spades is a tiebreaker over diamonds. It goes spades, hearts, diamonds, clubs. And here are the drivers that lost in the round of 16. Clyde and Baby Richie both drew an 8 of spades, so they're going to be racing for a single position here. And so far, it looks like it's going to be Baby Richie. But look at this. Baby Richie bins it in the outside lane. Gets corrected by Clyde, but Clyde's going to run away with this by the length of the entire backstretch. That was a race to see who starts in 13th versus 14th. And now here we have the first round of the second chance races. Only the top 2 finishers get in, and it looks like it's going to be Puff and Jimmy Johnson. Misty G had the speed but couldn't complete the pass. What a shock there. Gets Gator McCluskey on his roof. And up next we have Gray and Bobby Allison on the inside. First and second get the inside because that outside lane has been treacherous all day. And that was a classic beat down by the heavier mods. Gray and Bobby Allison will lock themselves into the race. Too bad for Kaz Gralla and Sawyer. Now on the inside, we got Baby Richie and Elton Sawyer. And look at this. Gale is putting up a fight. So Elton Sawyer with that inside lane advantage tries to put up a fight. They're all fighting for second place. It's going to be Gale. Elton Sawyer is beached on the guardrail. He will miss the race. That is our second full-time driver DNQ after Misty G. And would you look at this? We got yet another stock flying out of the start gate. Chase Elliott and Sparky Race are going to race their way in. Casey Kane gets third place. That is a DNQ because the first and second place finishers of each of these races makes exactly 40 cars. And it looks like Gavin McSpadge is going to DNQ as well. Looks like Far Out Jay will be the first driver in, Lord Shank the second one. His teammate Gavin McSpadge will have to watch that race from the couch. And up next we have Mike Honcho and Christie running away from the stocks of Daryl Waltrip and Violet. And up next we have Sloppy Bear and Coop going up against the stocks of Neil Bonnet and Jimbo Rockford. Sloppy Bear is the only driver that finishes. That's a triple DNF. That means among the third place drivers that finish their lap, Casey Kane and Misty G. Misty G gets in on points. She is higher in points than Casey Kane. It is Misty G's lucky day. She'll be starting in last place, so she'll have a lot of ground to make up. That triple DNF might have just saved her season. But let's take a look at the segment pole sitters. Gazza, your pole sitter. All familiar faces starting first place in the segments. And would you look at this, William and Bill Z. Bub front row starting spot. A great start for Giorgio as well, starting third in his segment. The highest starting stock is the 42 of Regular Isaac, starting in 20th place. And boy, do we have a lot of those today. We have 3 DNQs among the full-timers. Casey Kane, Elton Sawyer, who both shared that 38 car in the Busch Series, ironically enough, are the drivers that DNQ'd. Misty G bailed out by that triple DNF in the final segment of the Last Chance Racing. And you got to hand it out to Gazza and Burt Buzzard. What an epic lap for the pole at the end there. They should definitely be ones to look out for in that movie when it starts. It's going to be a great race. I can already feel it. Remember to leave a comment, hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, subscribe. We'll see you out there on the track.